MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network continues. I am Gabriel Morency. Let's send it to Costa Rica. Let's break it down with the top combat sport odds maker in the business. Joey's got a new website, Odessa.com. Joey Odessa steps up and in. Joey, how you doing tonight?
Hey, what's happening tonight, G?
We're doing good, Joey. Always a pleasure. You know what? We're actually fired up, man. It's the calm before the storm, isn't it? We got a so-so card this weekend. But you know, next weekend, yours and mine, one of our all-time favorites, Cain Velasquez, returns. Seems like it's been forever since we've seen Cain in the octagon. Aldo and Conor is around the corner. But we got an interesting card this week from a betting perspective. But I'll get to that in 1 second. Joe, I saw an interesting tweet from Vegas, the head of Cantor Gaming. As you know, one of the big boys in Las Vegas and Nevada. They take the bigger action in Vegas. And I say bigger, people be surprised. They'll shut you down for a $2,000 bet sometimes. But I was surprised to see, he said all the fights last week on the main card all had six-figure action on it. And, it goes to show that even when there's negativity about a card in the mainstream public, the bettors are still going to the windows.
People bet on anything. I mean, I talk about it. We say it all the time repetitively. The NFL Sunday Ticket. They're not watching those two worst teams in the NFL play each other. If you live in New York or L.A. or one of the big markets, you're watching it because of the point spread. If you can bet it, you'll watch it, and vice versa. And the UFC had that vision a long time ago when they were putting guys on the air and they would talk about the odds. And it's a smart thing. And I'll tell you what, it's going to pick up, and it's going to continue to go because people will bet on it. Even the Fight Pass. I mean, I have the Fight Pass is like my kiss of death.
Yeah, I'm off the Fight Pass fights. I'm off the Fight Pass fights. I've lost enough, and it's just, you brought me down with you with the Fight Pass curse somehow.
Everybody I brought down. I brought down the Titanic. I could bring down anything with the Fight Pass.
You know what, though, it is with the Fight Pass, Joey? I abstained from the first fight through superstition now. I don't care who's fighting, man. I don't care, man. Like, I don't care if God's fighting Pee Wee Herman. I'm not taking God if it's on the Fight Pass first fight. I'll pass. I'll bet the second Fight Pass fight. When I'm on this new kick, I pass for the first fight of the night.
It's like a winner. It's like circle the winner. Passing is as good as a winner if you're going to lose it. And I mean, damn if I do it. And I say all the time. People say, who you like in this first fight? And I'm like, you got to pass. And they're like, yeah, the Fight Pass. I'm like, yeah, pass, man. Believe me. I'm like one in. I don't win. And I don't believe in jinxes and curses, but there's just something with that Fight Pass. I don't know if I overanalyze it, and I watch everybody's tape. But that Fight Pass gets me. It's almost like the fantasy leagues. Like I won't go near the fantasy leagues because I get embarrassed. Like if there's 15 people in the contest, I finish 1,499. That's considering I didn't fill out a ticket. It's the truth. I mean, I can't win with it.
And, you and I have been talking about it for a while. Like, betting always helps sports. You get lines involved. You look at whenever there's a new MMA league, if there's betting on it, then people talk about it online. Then there's interest in it. And you look at this Saturday's card, and I was thinking, this really is a classic. This is like a Monday Night Football where it's like the Jets and the Titans or something, isn't it? It's not great, but people are going to be watching it and betting it anyways. But it's amazing, Joey, because a couple of weeks ago we had the heaviest chalk card ever. The biggest favorites ever. Every freaking fight, minus 700, minus 600, minus 500, minus 450, minus 650. Yet I can't recall a card in recent memory, Joey, in which every damn fight there's, and now I guess Proctor's just gotten to 200 in a few spots, but nobody is basically higher than 200 or 190 on this card.
Yeah, no, I tell you, I look at this card here, and this is, I look at it, and with Henderson and Bose coming up, and, big names, and, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Dan Henderson beat Fedor, but, I mean, going down
that was a long time ago. That was 2011. that was a while ago.
But it seems, like yesterday he's lost, 5 of his last 6. But what pains me is here's a guy that, that long ago Tim Bose wasn't even on the radar with him. Now Bose is like a 2-1 favorite against him, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, Jesus, is this the Dan Henderson, Roy Jones Jr., James Toney retirement tour? It pains me because these guys are so great, but it goes to show also the difference between a guy's legacy and a guy's business. And this right now, I got to wonder at what point, I think Dano's about business right now, and he should be. He's got 13 losses. Sure, he belongs in the Hall of Fame. At some point in time, he's going to go in the Hall of Fame. He's been around forever. He's won titles in every organization. But, Tim Boesch, if Tim Boesch goes out there and beats him, and Tim Boesch is supposed to beat him on paper, and I don't see it. Like, I looked at it, and I'm like, man, how far the mighty have fallen. But, not to get way off topic, but you look at this fight, and this is kind of, like you said, this is the Monday Night Football game where, the new expansion league almost, the expansion team was coming in here, the Jaguars back in the day or something, playing against, the Patriots or something, and they're looking to pull off an upset, but they're actually favored. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. It's just the whole dynamic of it. And, as we mix the gambling, we've crossed over NFL with MMA now, so, we're putting them on the same stage. But it's kind of, this really, MMA's come a long way. And it's really interesting how these guys are all, the business part of it, the money part of it, and, even, and I can't get in an episode without Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. In hindsight, I mean, how can you blame Floyd for that fight now? I mean, now Manny's the bad guy. I mean, who would have saw this coming?
I don't know. I don't know if Manny's the bad guy now, but that's besides the point. The UFC has its own Aldo McGregor. That's their Mayweather Pacquiao. Tickets are already going for like $600 on StubHub, which is the highest I've seen for a UFC event ever this far in advance. One thing about Boesch too, if you want to beat him, you can sub him, but Henderson hasn't subbed anyone since 1999. Boesch isn't that good either. This fight really perplexes me, Joey. The old gun to head, I hate to do it to Hendo, but if I had to, I would take Boesch and really hold my nose and my breath and look the other way while the fight's going on, because it's hard to trust him, but I'm going with Boesch. I'm going with Boesch, but let's move on. So finally, you're sounds like you're going to go with the dog here. You're going to go with Henderson, right?
I'm going to have to go with Henderson. I just based on if he's got anything left, and I'm a Boesch supporter. I mean, I had him when he fought Okami to come from behind wins. Tavares I had him with. I mean, he got Smokes versus Rockhold. See, our man, actually, no, he beat our man CB Dalloway.
Yeah, Dalloway got screwed. Yeah, Dalloway got screwed.
That was one of those.
I didn't think that the Boesch really won that fight. So here's another one, Joey. Matt Mitrione. If I told you that Matt Mitrione is in third place with 8 knockouts in the UFC, I'd be like, really? Only Cain Velasquez and Andre Arlovsky have knocked more people out. It's unbelievable. Here's Matt Mitrione on a three-fight win streak. Comes in here as a favorite against Rothwell. Another one. Do you want to lay the price for Mitrione? Do you trust him?
Well, I tell you, Rothwell's been around forever. He's got 40-some fights, and I remember Rothwell going all the way back to remember when the IFL made the expansion and came in, and the guy from the UFC jumped over to the IFL, and when he was retiring from the UFC, one of the executives, somebody that was deeply involved, and there was all kinds of drama. It was in the media, and needless to say, Rothwell's been around forever. Mitrione's only had 12 fights, but Mitrione is a classic example, and I love it because it just goes to show what the media could do to a guy and how relevant or irrelevant it can make a guy. And I say this all the time because he really does come off like a dumbass, when in reality, I think he's pretty damn smart. He said some really dumb things, but look how it's worked out for him. I mean, look at his record. He's 9-3. He's he's co-headlining here against Rothwell. He's made some smart business decisions. Obviously, he's not bad spoken when he speaks. When he's not talking about Bruce Jenner topics and things like that. Or his political beliefs. I mean, and he's going out on a limb against the Reebok contract along with Aldo, which is another. The more press these guys get, the better. I mean, I'm not going to go buy Reeboks because of Matt Mitrione or Jose Aldo or John Jones or anybody else. But they're getting the exposure, they're getting talked about. And if I see a pair of Reeboks that look good or a shirt by Reebok that looks good, I'm going to buy it, period. Because it's not, it doesn't say, Skippy's on it or whatever. I mean, it's Reebok. Reebok is Reebok. It's getting the exposure. And Mitrione spoke out about it a little bit. And for a guy with a 9-3 record to speak out about something like that, that's kind of ballsy.
Yeah, guys that speak out often lose. We saw Jimmo run his mouth recently, and that didn't work out too well for him. We've seen it time and time again. Roy Nelson with Miocic beating him up. If I'm Aldo, I like the way he's taking the platform and speaking his voice, but at the same point in time, do it right after the fight, basically. Don't get distracted. Keep from distractions. But so who you pulling the trigger with, Joey? Mitrione or Rothwell?
I kind of like Rothwell here. You know, I got to say I like Rothwell. I like the experience.
Yeah, I agree.
Rothwell just went in there with Overeem.
I don't love him. Exactly. He beat Overeem. Listen, I don't love Rothwell, but I'm not laying 90 cents with Mitrione. I'm going to pull the trigger. It's early in the week right now. You know, stuff could change after the weigh-in and stuff, but as it is right now here. What about Poirier here? What about this number, Joey? I see it's even coming down a bit. It's 185 right now. Poirier and Medeiros. What do you think about this one?
I got to tell you, this card perplexed me. I saw some things last week where people, and we let the guys in the bleachers start calling the shots, and I know this from going back, making these numbers. You go back to like 1999, 2000, guys start complaining, why isn't this number up? Why don't we have a number up on that? You know why? Because we're the bank, buddy, and we decide when we put the stuff up. People decide. Well, so people complained, so they put this card up a little bit early, and I see what I think are a lot of 60-40 fights. It could be 60-40 either way. Right now, you know, these minus 200 favorites, I wouldn't have been surprised if they were the other way around. But in this Poirier fight, when I looked at it against Medeiros, the Hawaiian kid, right, I looked at it and I said, damn, you know, Dustin's going to be a pretty good-sized favorite here. I don't see Dustin losing.
Neither do I. Neither do I. I don't like getting ahead of ourselves either, but I was surprised. I figured it would be minus 300 or so. He's fighting in his backyard.
Really did. You know, two rounds in the back. I said, how does he not win 2 rounds in this fight? You know, I looked at it and I took a double take, made sure I went to a couple sites, made sure I wasn't, because a lot of times he can, you know, they have the favorite on top and the bottom, and you know all the classic mistakes is you know anybody that's played long enough has hit the wrong guy and then going into the fight and thought they lost the fight and ended up winning it, or thought they won it and ended up losing it, you know, just by the click of a mouse button because the rotation numbers are wrong. You know, the favorite might be on top or bottom. But I literally went back and I said, something's not right here. It looks, you know, it just looks a little low. You know, and the same thing with the Henderson fight. I took a double take on some of these numbers. And, you know, I'm a little late going up with my numbers this week, and that's a big reason why. You know, because I'm looking at this, I'm looking to bet this card. This might be another one of those, you know, February 22nd quiet storms where those little guys, and I'm not endorsing these parlays, and I don't want to see it because, boy, they hurt when they hit these bookmakers. But I tell you what, this card, there's a lot of guys here that are underdogs, and there's a lot of lower, you know, this.
Yeah, but at least you can't get crushed. At least you can't get crushed because, you know, that Brazilian card, they were plus 400 underdogs winning and stuff like that. All right, we only got like 2 minutes here, Joey. Anything on the way out as far as the prelims are concerned? Derek Lewis and Sean Jordan, Joe Proctor, Justin Edwards, anything catch your eye? And I want to get your quick take on the Kane fight next week on the way out.
And no pun on the Proctor fight, right? Isn't that where he had that huge hematoma and he came back and he won the fight? I think it was Joe Proctor. Boy, did that one hurt me. It didn't hurt me, but I think Joe Proctor gets it done. I think he's a pretty solid play. The other one, I mean, I have Poirier circled. And, you know, another interesting play here is, but it's the fight pass, so we're going to have to pass on it. I'm really interested to see what happens with Quinones against Morales. I wouldn't endorse a play on it. I'm not touting it. I'm not anything, but just so you know, if you guys want a good fade, I would probably, if I was going to put my money down, I'd probably bet Quinones. So that means Morales is going to walk through him. You know, if we're going to go by if you believe in jinxes and streaks and all that, Morales is probably money.
Joey Odessa with us. All right, Joey, so we don't have time for Kane, but Kane coming back. It's been a long layoff, man. 5-1 favorite right now. Seems pretty high.
If he doesn't fall into something, he's going to hurt him.
Yeah, seems pretty high at 5-1. Even with Kane's greatness, man, I'm a little trepidatious.
No, it is a high number. Hey, look, it might be that value trap. Live dog that won't win. I don't know. I could see Kane fall. I don't want to see Kane. I think Kane's a little too smart to fall into something the way that Fedor did. I think Kane's got too much respect for Verdum's ground game. That's one thing about Kane. You can't say the guy doesn't respect people. He doesn't go out there like he's going to absolutely.
No, you're right. He doesn't let his ego get the best of him in the octagon. He does what he needs to do to win. Great guy, too, Kane. Hey, always a pleasure, Joey. Thanks for the time.
Hey, my pleasure. G, have a good one.
There's Joey Odessa with us. Always a pleasure breaking it down with Joey. I don't know if Joey's aged a little bit, man. He sounded like Burgess Meredith and Rocky. Come on, Rocky. Come on, get it together. And we'll come back. Final thoughts. We got a pretty weird video of the week to wrap things up with, too.